Well, guys, I was gonna sit outside like I usually do, but the uh, the workers out there are making a racket, and they have the backhoe going up and down the street hauling dirt, cutting the ground, and making all kinds of racket. I said, "Well, I'll go inside. It's a cool day, anyways. I think supposed to get the engine today." I called the guy. I said, "Hey, I already paid it and everything." I said, "Where's my engine?" "Oh, we haven't finished putting all the odds and ends." Uh, he says he's gonna do this for me. He's not. He doesn't supposed to put the water pump or the engine is done. Anything, everything else is extra. But he's gonna do it for me. But apparently he's very busy and he didn't have people to do it. So he says I'll have it ready by tomorrow. So I haven't gotten a call. I don't know if I'm gonna take the engine now because um, I have to do some things during the week. I gotta go to a funeral. So I might pick it up Friday and then have it ready to put in the boat uh, next week sometime. I gotta make the appointment and everything. So and see how that goes. So I went to. Oh, I got my little coffee here. I got invited to a ceviche barbecue. It's not really a barbecue. My friend had some people come over, and this guy offered to make the ceviche, and it was shrimp. And the ceviche is supposed to have more than just one thing. You're supposed to have fish, octopus, or calamari, shrimp, a little bit of everything. It was all shrimp, and they bought a lot of shrimp. So he mixed it up, and he put in the zucchini and the onions, and I don't remember what else. It came out okay. It wasn't Peruvian ceviche. Peruvian ceviche is the best. If you have a Peruvian place around your neighborhood and you want to have ceviche, it's ceviche is like the Latin sushi, but with flavor. Because sushi is just raw fish, and then you got to dip it in the soy, or you got to use the wasabi and mix it and da da da. It doesn't have that much of a flavor, but the ceviche, it gives you a nice kick, and then you can add a little bit of Valentina. You can put Tabasco. You can put any hot sauce you want, any condiment that you want to have more pepper or whatever. But ceviche is great. So when I was there, I was smoking a Chapman number 20. It was good, but immediately when I walked into the patio, I got this aroma of this cigar that my young friend was smoking. And I said, "What do you got there?" He goes, "Oh, I bought it at the store over here, nearby." So I like the aroma. It was almost going out. It was already very short, and he just put it out, and that's it. So I didn't get a chance to really study the aroma, but I got the name, and I went and got one. I went and got four because I liked it, and it's called the Cuban Legend. And being that I lost my lighter, I'm gonna light it the old-fashioned way. I got a little box of matches. I think I know where the lighter is. I just gotta go get it. I gotta get it out of my overnight bag when I went out. So we're gonna light it the old-fashioned way. This is the way they, in the old days, used to light the cigar. Remember the old timers doing this. And guess what? I'm an old timer now. Some guy on YouTube called me an old timer when I was in my 50s. And I said, "Dude, I can outclimb you and I can outlift any weight you can carry." Oh boy. Smooth. Let's see how it is at midway. One thing I noticed, cigar is very soft, very, very spongy. So that humidor that he had in it, which was a room, must have been a little bit too humid because the cigar is lit, but I got a feeling it's going to die out if I don't keep puffing on it. Wow. Got a different flavor. It's not exactly, maybe the one he bought, it was a little larger. I don't know, because like I said, when I got there, he was already almost done with it. But this is very, and I only pay $6 versus 9, 12, 15, 20 that I've been buying. Oh wow, the aroma. I don't know if I can find this online. Maybe this is a local guy. There's a store. Yeah, this thing, I'm a believer. This thing has a very nice. Yeah, man. Good blend. I don't know what they put in it, but good blend. I go to this. It's kind of far for me to go, but when I have the antojo to go, which means the craving, I drive all the way out there and buy these Cuban cigars made by this guy that he makes them at home, and he sells them at the store for $5, $4, $6, and they're pretty decent. It's equivalent of the Cuban round, but this one, wow. Now I'm getting the nice aroma, but I'm not getting the flavor. Not yet. Yeah, it's mild. It's not hot or heavy. It's a mild, but the aroma, wow, nice. That's why when I walked in the yard, immediately, boom, it hit me. I got a very good nose. So we'll see how it goes. I received, I haven't installed it yet, but I received my Limb Saver rifle pad, recoil pad, to install on the Weatherby. I decided I'm going to take the Weatherby, even though it says original, it says Weatherby on it. It's the original one, but the thing is stiff. It's from the 70s. It's petrified. It's too hard. This one says here reduces up to 70% felt recoil. 70%. So be that I'm not a 30-06 lover, I'm gonna shoot this and I'm gonna give my honest review and opinion on the pad, because the 30-06, it kicks. It's a big bullet, big cartridge. So yeah, I'm gonna install that. I might do a video doing it, even though I don't have the right. Yeah, I think I do have a screwdriver that's narrow, because you don't want to put in a fat one. It'll mess up the pad. So I was kind of kicking around YouTube. I found this video that said that there's a gap in the historical almanac, and I'm going, what are they talking about? So I started looking at it, and it turns out that in the mid 1990s, I think it was 95 or maybe 97, there was a German historian that he was kind of digging up, trying to find some history between the year 611 and 914, and he couldn't find anything. And he's going, wait a minute. There were no talks, or there was nothing written down on a new castle being built, or a new bridge being built, or on a battle being fought somewhere. There was a gap of 300 years in the historical record. So they couldn't find anything. That's why they called it the Dark Ages. There was no information. So, so according to the story, during the Roman Empire, the calendar that Julius Caesar implemented was called the Julian calendar. they did some calculations, and they said, well, it's missing some days because the 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 spring equinox was falling on the wrong date, and they had to move it up a bit. And so, anyways, they had to redo the calendar, and the Pope that supposedly had better calculations, he changed the Julian calendar to the Gregorian calendar, which is the one we're using today. All right. So when the kings found out that there was going to be a change in calendar, they said, "Hey, let's take advantage." I'm saying this. I'm imagining this is what happened. Say, take advantage of the change in the calendar, and let's just move our date to the 1000, so we're known for being rulers of the millennium. And the people that came up with this idea was King Otto III, and the Pope was in it. I think it was called Sylvester II, and Constantine the seventh. And like there was nothing happening in the 600. They wanted to be hip, and they wanted to be the kings that reigned during the millennium, 1,000-year period. And they were saying, well, how are we gonna do this, because this is the 600s. And one king says, I have an idea. German historian was digging and digging, trying to find information. He couldn't find anything that correlated to the time period of it was between the 614 and the 911. So it's almost 300 years. It's 297 years. And he noticed that the architectural was the same. There was no difference between the 600, the last known building being built, and then the 1000. The style was the same. There were no advancements in art, advancements in agricultural, advancement in farming, advancement in architectural buildings and churches and cathedrals or bridges. He found nothing. Everything was the same. So now he's looking at this information and he says, this gap is for real. There's nothing in between the 600 and then the 1000 that shows what they were doing. If there was any new roads that they built, because almost 300 years, there had to be some progress somewhere. That's why he thinks it's fake. It's a fake history. They just added some stuff in there, and nothing is verifiable. So it's incredible. Those kings got in cahoots to do this and lie to people and change the date. So according to the story of the German historian, we're not in the year 2025 because of those 300 years that got advanced in the calendar. And being that everybody was illiterate, very, very few people knew how to write and read. People didn't even know what year they were in. Everybody were worried about what to eat and diseases. It was a tough time. The only people that could write and read were actually the monks. They're the ones that made copies. They were like the Xerox of the age, of the day. They would make copies, and they would make books and books and books and books and books in Latin. Nobody could read Latin either. Only the priests and the monks. I don't think even the kings knew how to read the Latin. But they decided to change the date and make it the year 1000. And they changed the almanac. And I'm flipping out. I'm going, wait a minute, I've never heard of this before. What are you talking about? So this German historian, he started digging. And he found some falsified records. Even then, people would lie and cheat, They will falsify records of things and places. And he started investigating, like they were building this castle, let's say, by the river so-and-so. Well, there's no such castle. There was a battle here. There was no such battle. There was nothing. Every time he found something written down, something historical as some sort of a record of the year, there was nothing that he could find physically. So the only thing that he found was the story of Charlemagne, King Charles of France. That Charlemagne did this and Charlemagne did that, and he was an agronomer, he was an agriculturist, he made 100 laws, he fought in every wars for 40 years, he did this and he did that. And I said, wait a minute, they gave him so much credit that it was impossible for one single person to do this in one lifetime. I mean, he had to be living several lifetimes to accomplish everything that he's supposed to be done. And he's saying, because it's not really confirmed that Charlemagne really didn't exist. They made him up. And I'm going, well, I know they got statues in France, a guy with a sword, but so there's a gap. And there's no physical evidence of anything happening in that gap. They got castles built in the 600. Nothing between the 78 and the 9. There's nothing there that it was built. There was no mention of a disease. There was no mention of death. There was no mention of people. A king, the daughter of the son of the king, a new baby was born. A bull run over 20 people, accidents. Nothing was written in that time, in 300 years. That's why this German guy, he must be very curious because, well, he's a historian, and the historians like to have the accurate record. And he says, this is all bullshit. There's nothing that I've found that confirms none of this stuff. Because there's records going back to biblical times. It written in stone, and you got depictions, and you have the Bible that tells you things, and there's always something written somewhere about a certain part of history, a certain time. The flood is mentioned in all the cultures around the world. The Japanese have a flood story. The Chinese have a flood story. The Middle East, everybody has a flood story. So the flood story is something that you can kind of verify, and then the geologists are comparing it to the timeline, and they're finding out that it was true. But so this guy's looking for stuff and he can't find nothing. So now, according to him, we're supposed to be in the year 17, what is it, 25 or 1700s. We're supposed to think of that. We're in the year 17 something. I'm telling you, every time you look, there's something different. Boy, this cigar is impressing me. Very good. Cuban Legend. First time I heard of it. So now, going back to the boat. Once the engine's in, the shop already installed this break-in oil that I didn't know it was a thing. And gonna run it for, he says, 2 hours. You can drive it around or stationary, put it at a high RPM, like 1500, 1000, 1500. Let it run for 2 hours. So I need to put some more gas, but I'm gonna drive it around normal speed and let that oil break in and cleans up any little bits of burr or whatever. And then pump it out and put marine oil in, and then we're good to go. Then I can take it out fishing. Now, one thing I found out about the engine, I thought it was a Vortex, and it's not. It's a TBI, which means I can use a fuel injected carbureted that works with a little computer. But I'm not going to bother putting a TBI on the boat. He said that it works well with the carburetor that I have. So I'm gonna install the carburetor and run it with that, and then take it out and do some traveling, some fishing, etc. Then I got to start working on the truck. I'm kind of falling behind on the truck But I'm hoping for this mechanic to help me with that, because if I take it to a shop, I'm looking at 3 to 4,000. They already told me more or less how much it's going to cost. It's $3,800 to pull the heads and da da da. And I said, no, that's too much money. I want him to come here, pull the heads. I'll take him to a shop, get it repaired, bring it back, and I'll call him and say, okay, come and install the heads, and we're good. That's not going to cost me $3,800. And that's the reason it's the truck is falling behind, because the boat is not done. All right. I'll see you on the next one.